Monsters at Work just dropped its first episode on Disney Plus today, and it was a pretty good start to the series. They dropped a couple episodes. I'm going to be reviewing both of those episodes in separate videos, so stay tuned for the second episode review. I did review Monsters University and Monsters Inc. Before the series came out, so that way I could tie it in with this series, so you can check those reviews out if you want to know my thoughts on the movies. So I really liked this episode. It had a good point of view to start out because the episode starts and we meet Tyler Texton, who is someone who attended Monsters University, which is a great tie-in to that movie. I don't really like that movie, but it's kind of cool that they tied into it, and they actually showed the teacher from that movie. He's in the show for a brief minute, and yeah. So Tyler, he graduates his college top scare, and he comes to Monsters Inc. as everything is falling apart and changing, and they're having power issues because, of course, at the end of the last movie, they're trying to get people in there to laugh. They're trying to teach people how to laugh, and it's also, this episode's kind of his point of view, being situated, and we see a little bit of Mike's and Sully's point of view, but they're not as in the episode as much as these new characters are, because the series is about these new characters. But you meet Mindy Kaling's new character, who, that's the first thing I'll tell you about this show. This show has a really great voice cast. John Goodman and Billy Crystal are really great as Mike and Sully. They voiced them in the movies, and they're in the show, and they do an excellent job here. Henley Winkler and Mindy Kaling and all the other voice cast are fantastic, especially Henley Winkler. I love his voice, and he did a great job. But yeah, it's so much fun seeing all these characters do all these voices, and they do a great job, and there's a lot of great energy to their voice performances. I also, not something I would normally notice, but the score to this show is really good. And I was actually watching an interview with the people who composed the score, and they were talking about the fact that they try to make it sound as much as like the first movie, but also their own take on it. And I think that's a really cool thing, because that soundtrack to that movie, is actually a really good score. It's an underrated score. I believe it was Randy Newman who composed that score for Monsters Inc. And it was an incredible score. And so they definitely did a great job here. It sounds very good. And yeah, I think this was a cool episode for introducing us to the new characters and stuff. I think it was a little bit too long. I think it went on for about 10 minutes. Or not, well, I wouldn't say 10 minutes, about 5 minutes too long. And at the ending, suspension of disbelief is a little ridiculous. Like, Sully goes, "Who do you think recommended you for this job? You graduated top scary." Yeah, but like, you're not looking for scares. You're looking for people who are funny. So I don't know, but I don't know. It was fine. It was a pretty decent episode of this series. Kind of started off, introduced it. It was just kind of like exactly what you expect from a pilot episode of the show, but it worked. And I'm excited to see where it goes.